Good evening and welcome to the SRUC Elmwood Professional Golf event. My name is Caroline Mansley and I'm the Marketing and Student Recruitment Officer at the Elmwood Campus in Cooper, and today I'm joined by my colleagues from the Professional Golf Department. I'm now going to pass you over to Gary Anderson.
Thanks, Caroline. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the course, the ethos behind the course is where we are, what we do basically, and then I'll hand you over to my colleagues who will talk a wee bit more about progression routes, student achievement, alumni and pathways into the collegiate system in America, and about being a student athlete while you're with us as a golfer at Elmwood. So we run 3 different courses at Elmwood in professional golf. We have the certificate, the SCQF level 5, and then we have the HNC and leading into the HND. The HNC is the SCQF level 7, which is equivalent to first year at university. The HND at level 8, so it's equivalent to second year at university, meaning that you could progress onto a university and enter directly into the third year of university programmes at a number of universities across Scotland, or you could articulate with UHI as well. We're based not that far from St Andrews if you don't know where we are. Cooper is the site of our main campus, the town of Cooper, and just outside the town, about 1.5 miles up the road, we have our own golf course. So we're located right in the heart of the home of golf, with easy access to a number of major golf courses right on our doorstep. The facilities at our golf course include an 18-hole golf course. We have 2 putting greens, one of them's floodlit through the winter nights as it is just now. We've got 6 indoor bays and then a large indoor analysis room that opens up onto the driving range. And we've got huge areas of outdoor grass space because as golfers we try and always play off the real turf. So we have huge grass space both for teaching but also just for practice as well. And we've got a great short game area with 3 greens, 6 holes, bunkers and plenty of space to work on your short game. The certificate in professional golf is aimed at mostly at the school leaver who's left before doing their hires, who's got a keen interest in golf or the golf industry and is looking to just explore what opportunities might be available to them. They've got a strong interest in the playing of the game, and they've probably got a desire to go on and forge a career as a teaching professional and enhance their own golf performance. To come onto the programme, you need national 4s or 5s, and what we're really looking for is that proven interest in golf. So golf handicap, member of a club, that kind of thing. The HNC and HND being equivalent to first and second year at university is where things become a bit more focused. So we're now looking a bit more specifically at those that do want to progress into a more teaching or coaching career path as a teaching professional, or want to specialise in maybe the club fitting or the retail sector, or maybe even think about going into the management sector. Again, it's building on a strong involvement in golf, member of a club, handicap. It's desirable to have a low handicap, but it's by no means essential. The focus of the course is really to support these young golfers in the pursuit of improving their golf, and at the same time equip them with the skills that could transfer in the industry, so there's an employment route into industry once they leave. Being a student athlete at Elmwood involves obviously the coursework, so the timetable classes. Typically in a normal year, an HNC, HND student would be in class for about 15 or 16 hours of face-to-face time direct with the lecturers. The NC's a couple of hours more than that. And the classes and the way that the timetable run is a combination of practical and theoretical delivery, and then we combine on top of that the continuation of developing our young students and as golfers. So we try and structure the week that there's practice time built into the week. So typically the timetables look something like this. This is our certificate timetable. You can see they're timetabled all day Monday, most of Tuesday. Wednesday for every student is kept free. I'll come back to that in a minute. Then we have most of Thursday is class, and then Friday. So you can see that in the week we've got areas on the Tuesday afternoon, Thursday morning, Friday afternoon where we've kept them free for practice. but the main practice takes place on the Wednesday if we're not involved in BUCS, ICT or Order and Merit. So BUCS is British Universities and Colleges Sport, so that's where we're practicing to compete in the league, which we play in with other universities across Scotland. The intercollegiate tour, the ICT, is 2 tours that we play in alongside typically Loreto School and Durham Sixth Form College as the Northern Division. And that is a league, and at the end of the league, if we do well, we qualify for the National Championships, which brings the colleges and schools from across the UK together to play in national finals, usually down south. The Order of Merit is our weekly competition if we're not involved in BUCS or ICT, where we play around on our own 18-hole golf course, and that is running for the whole year, and at the end of the year we have our coronation of our champion golfer for the year. The HNC timetable, you can see, has got more directed study on the Monday, so there's a bit less face-to-face contact time. So that's either self-directed study or practice time up at the golf course. Then in classes, all day Tuesday, all day Thursday, pretty much all day Friday. Again with the BUCS, ICT and Order and Merit on the Wednesday. And HND is similar. It's a bit more spread out through the week. There's a bit more self-directed study for the HND, it being equivalent to second year at university. There's a bit more responsibility required of the student to take more responsibility for some of their learning. But again, there's practice time within that self-directed study if they're up to date with their work. I'll pass over to my colleague Graham, who's going to talk a wee bit about student successes and the R&A scholarships which some of our students have accessed.
Right, thanks for that, Gary. Evening, everybody. My name is Graham McDowell. I'm also a lecturer on the golf programme. So yeah, Gary mentioned earlier about the importance of your own progression and development as a player. That's something that's really important to us as a body of staff, as well as your academic qualification. We take great pleasure in seeing you progressing at golf. Hence one of the reasons that we've got such a fantastic practice facility for you to work on that. A recent success here, you can see Lorna McClimate, who won the R&A Foundation Scholars Tournament. A big tournament that brings together all of the players who are in the R&A scholarship bursary scheme. So that's held annually at St Andrews, and Lorna, a couple of years ago now, was able to beat a first class field and win that tournament. So if you are off the level of player to qualify for a scholarship with R&A, then we'll be encouraging you to go forward and do that. I think it's currently +1 for male and 2 for female. And if you're successful in getting that, then you'll receive funding to go towards your tournament play, equipment, coaching, and all of that kind of thing. So we'll make sure that you're aware of that and receive any funding that could possibly help your game progress. As well, yeah, thanks for that. So yeah, as well as that, the kind of excuse me, academic progression routes, as well as kind of the playing side. I think we pride ourselves also in the fact that we've got a really high conversion rate into meaningful pathways out of our programs, and some of them are highlighted up here on the screen. If you graduate with a HND, then it's most likely that you'll be able to enter Aberdeen University at year 3 of their programme. As Gary said, HND equates to year 2 of university. So you can go into their year 3 in a sports-related qualification degree programme. So that might be sports coaching, sports management, or some of the sports science areas as well. As well as that, more recently, we've had students go to UHI in Dornoch because they are now affiliated with the PGA. So there's opportunities coming out of our programme, and at the moment you would be able to progress onto year 2 of their programme, and then 3, and then a 4th year would allow you to go forward to become PGA qualified. We also have a good number of our students who get kind of cherry picked into trainee positions with the PGA, where we now have alumni, and we'll talk a little bit about in a second, but we've got alumni all over the world and in some fantastically prestigious golf courses, and regularly, excuse me, regularly we get contacted by employers who ask us to kind of send forward our best 2 or 3 students for an interview. So strong industry links there. One of the other really solid progression routes, which is typically for the players who are maybe slightly stronger players and aspiring to be tour professionals, is to go to the USA on a potential scholarship, and Fraser's going to talk to you in more detail about that. We've had a really good number of students come through and go on to the States and do really well out there. So yeah, overall strong employment opportunities in various golf operations, and in the future we are hoping to have our own degree progression, so you'll be able to come out of our HND and continue your studies into a BA in professional golf. So that's hopefully coming up in the future. Yeah, just in terms of alumni then, here's a couple of our kind of recent graduates. Tom Ogilvie, who is now at the Peak Cowan Academy at Dubai Creek. He's out there also with Ewan Bowden, who's another one of our former graduates. So they're both out there working under the Peak Cowan Academy in Dubai. On the right there is Gary Foley, who's again one of our recent graduates. That's him giving some tuition to some of the school pupils that we work with on our own range. And Gary's now the teaching professional at Royal Troon and doing a really good job building a really big, successful junior program out there. So we could give you dozens of examples of alumni who are, in really good positions. One of our alumni just won the Scottish Assistants Championship. So there's also alumni that are doing really well from a playing perspective as well. Okay, right, I'll hand you to Fraser, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about the opportunities in America.
Thanks, Graham. Evening, everyone. My name's Fraser Hutchison. I'm also one of the lecturers in the golf programme at Elmwood. In terms of the US progression, so in the last 10 or 12 years or so, we've had 22, 23 students from Elmwood progress or articulate, if you like, into the American, the US college golf system. A number of girls and a number of boys who have used Elmwood as a stepping stone. So that's one pathway for aspiring players. As Graham mentioned, with the RNA Scholars Programme, kind of similar in terms of the level that you need to be considering or looking at for the US. For a young lad, probably in the region of a 1 handicap scratch or better, and for a girl, probably around about a 3 handicap or better. So we've got alumni at universities and colleges all over the States, north, south, east and west, which has proved a successful pathway. And it's one which, when we speak to the alumni out in the US, one that they, very much reflect positively on in terms of their own player development at Elmwood, as a sort of good preparation ground, getting used to living away from home, a timetable of academics and golf practice and training, etc. So it's a very sort of good stepping stone for the US. Do you want to pop the next slide on, Gary? Okay, I'm not sure if this one's maybe back to Graham, actually, Graham, or I can cover some of it, I don't mind.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about the high performance program if you like, Fraser, and then I'll maybe a little bit about the PGA qualification stuff, and then hand it back to you if you like.
Okay.
Right, so yeah, another thing, again, it's really coming back to the playing aspect of things. We have a high performance program and have had now for probably coming up for about 12 years, and that is additional to your academic work, where you will apply to come on that course, and if you're selected, you'll get additional training alongside the additional training that you already get. And it's really for people that can evidence that they are progressing towards a kind of higher level of playing, if you like. So over the years we've had plus handicaps up to 4 or 5 on that program, but it's really based on the trajectory that your golf's taking. If you can evidence that you've been kind of making steady progression over a few years, then and that you show real dedication towards your performance and how you go about that through your practice, then there's a good chance that you'll get onto that programme. Alongside that, just one other thing we'd like you to have is as many additional qualifications as possible. A big aspect of your future success in the industry is going to be how good your CV looks in terms of what you've done additionally. I would say that the students who just leave and do nothing apart from their qualification tend to be a little bit light in the job market when it comes to trying to secure a really good position. So we'd like you to try and have your PGA level 1, but working towards your level 2, as well as the relevant child protection qualifications that you need to coach and first aid certificates, as well as doing some additional work experience as well. So the kind of meatier your CV can look, excuse me, by the time you leave, then the better the chance there is that you're going to secure a good position at some point down the line. I'll hand back to Fraser, who's going to talk a little bit about the additional student activities in terms of golf tournaments. I think we just need to go back briefly there, Caroline, just to pick up about the golf tours and the bucks and whatnot. So
okay, yeah, thanks, Graham. So as Gary mentioned earlier, on the Wednesday we have an order of merit qualification day every week, and that really allows us to choose our team, if you like, along with the golf committee, the student-led golf committee, to choose our team that travels around the country, typically over to Loreto at Craigielaw and Musselburgh, and down to the northeast of England, down at Durham Sixth Form Academy. So we play in the regional league for the ICT, which is the Intercollegiate Tour League, and also the British Schools and Colleges League. And, you know, assuming that the students do well at that stage, qualifies us for the national finals, typically down south, which allows us the opportunity to compete against all of the golf academies down in England. So really competitive playing fields, typically at the end of the academic year. That's supported by the high performance golf programme. Again, Graham will probably mention that a little bit more, but that's additional hours of training for individuals who fulfill a criteria or have ambitions of potentially a playing career, similar to the sort of levels that were mentioned with the RNA scholars, the playing ability, sort of low single figure handicaps to sort of scratch or plus handicaps. Moving on to the Erasmus, so we have been fortunate in the last 10 or 12 years in partnership with a local sports tour company and one of our past graduates to secure funding for an Erasmus project out to Spain for 2 weeks each year, and that's been a fantastic, fully all expense paid trip for our golf students each year, whereby they coach local Spanish kids, so they get experience of coaching abroad, they get some experience of working at a Spanish golf resort, sports facility, as well as warm weather training and competition as well. So very focused on performance, many internships and coaching. Certainly a trip that's, you know, reflected on very favourably when we see all of our past alumni at our annual alumni event every year. So always one on the radar, and we're hoping to get back out there in May or June 2021, all going well. Other aspects, our location obviously is second to none, being down the road from the home of golf at St Andrews, but we're very close to one of the very few Hickory golf courses, authentic Hickory courses in the UK, Kingarrick Hickory. So embedded within the history of golf module that the students study, part of parcel as that is learning about equipment technology and how that's evolved over the centuries. And what better way to learn than for the students to play with, you know, 120-year-old golf clubs and the old golf balls at the Hickory golf course up in Cooper. So yeah, very successful trip over the years. Dunhill Links European Tour event on the doorstep up the road at Carnoustie and Kingsbarns and St Andrews as well. So integrating our students into some volunteer jobs over the course of the 4 or 5 days of the event. Some fantastic work experience opportunities, getting inside the ropes and seeing some of the tour pros play as well. That's been a particularly enjoyable experience for the students over the years. And as we mentioned earlier, you know, it's very satisfying from our perspective to see so many of our graduates thereafter moving into jobs in golf all over the country and all over the world. Kingsbarn, St Andrews, Gleneagles, Gullin, North Berwick, all over the country, and even out in the States where some of our graduates who take up golf scholarships end up taking over some PGA jobs in the States and other golf operational jobs in the US. So I think that kind of concludes everything that we wanted to cover, but I'll pass it back over to Caroline if there's any questions.
Thanks, Fraser. Yeah, we've had a few come in, so I'm just going to start asking them just now. How do I know what level to start at? Is it just based on my handicap? Who'd like to take that one?
I could field that one, Caroline. The most important thing is an academic course that you're signing up for. So it's really pitching the entry point that suits your academic ability first and foremost. We've got good golfers and not so good golfers on every course that we offer. It's the academic programme that is the real driving factor of everything that we do. So it'll be your academic qualifications that will determine which is the best course to go into. The theme of the three programmes are similar. It's about preparing you for the golf industry. So each year we get progressively more in depth about the subject areas that we're studying. So whether it's sports science, whether it's about equipment technology, whether it's about coaching or anything, it's going deeper and deeper. So getting each year's a build on the year before, so getting it at the academic level and right is the most important thing.
That's great, thanks Gary. The next question I've got here is, what PPE and equipment is provided by the college?
So we expect all our golfers to come prepared to play golf. All our students are active golfers, so they've got all the equipment. What we do have is an opportunity to get some team kit at a discounted price through one of our suppliers, and we encourage students to buy into the teamwear, so that if they're out coaching or competing as part of SRUC, then it's clear where they come from and what team they're representing or what institution they're representing. At the NC level or the certificate level, there is some additional funding available to support us buying one or two things in terms of teamwear or essential clothing like waterproofs or things like that. But in the main, we expect our golfers to come with that kit already. We're not working in or preparing students to work in a hazard environment where they need safety glasses or overalls or anything like that. We just expect them to come ready to play golf and to protect themselves from the elements, basically.
That's great, thank you. Another question, where is the main destination for your students?
I'll let Fraser or Graham answer that one.
Well, I could certainly talk about some of them. Graham could probably touch on more of the PGA side. The majority, I would say, definitely do go down the PGA route, but we do have quite a number who have gone into a variety of, sort of golf operational positions at various locations. Golf scholarships, university. So some students find a niche area perhaps in sports coaching or sort of sports science, biomechanics, and progressing on to year 3 at Abertay, for example. But certainly, students maybe find their feet as they progress through the qualifications with us, whether that maybe be down a custom fitting route or golf management, sort of sports science or sports management route. But certainly the majority have progressed onto the PGA. Graham, if you wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, I'll do that, Fraser. I think it's been a great springboard for so many students now over the last 10 years or so in terms of really successfully transitioning into a successful career as a PGA qualified professional, all over the country, Europe, and the world now, where we have graduates out doing that kind of work. And what it really does is that, first of all, we're recognised by industry, so they come to us. But if you do decide to do your PGA training, it will come a lot easier to you, because of the exposure to the stuff that we've done with you over a 1, 2 or 3 year period. And we know that anecdotally from speaking to our past students when they go to do their exams with the PGA and the work, they are typically ahead of non-PGA graduates when it comes to that. So, you know, a great career choice really if you are thinking about becoming a professional golfer. Excuse me, in the future. I must remember to bring water with me next time so I'm not coughing constantly through it. But yeah, that's. Yeah, just to finish that then, the PGA route, really solid, well-established route that we have, if that's something that's of interest to you.
That's great, thanks Graham, Fraser. Next one, a really practical question. Can I access the golf course when I'm not in class?
Yeah, that's actively encouraged. As a student on the professional golf programs, you get your membership and access to free balls every week in the practice area. So you could go up and work on the range, you could go to the short game area, you could play as many rounds of golf as you could fit in, and we actively encourage that. You could go and use the putting greens. And typically we also, in a normal year, would work with a local golf course, typically the Dukes in St Andrews, where we get a very good discounted rate for our students, and we use that as a sort of second venue for some of our competitions, and also to go up and host their Order of Merit and so on. That doesn't require the student to actually purchase that season ticket, but it's better than half price in a lot of ways. So the students over the years have typically bought into that as well. And yeah, the more golf you play, as long as you're up to date with your studies, we'll encourage that all the time. Yeah.
Well, that's good news. Another question along those lines, how much time is spent on the golf course as a class?
Again, I'll let Fraser and Graham.
Yeah, so well, I can kick it off if you like. I mean, it really does depend on yourself. We own our own golf course. It has 18 holes. We've got a practice facility that's fantastic. So you will also be at the golf course for some of your practical sessions. So not all of our curriculum naturally is delivered in a classroom. You've got practical performance aspects that are part of the NC module. You've got coaching practicals that are part of the NCH and CNHND. So in terms of that, you'll have a bit of a split between the classroom and also the golf course for the practicals. I mean, I would say between those two, what we're looking at is about 24 hours of timetabled activity, and then, I mean, really thereafter you're free to put in as much activity as you like on the golf course. So the keener students are up the golf course all the time, you know, on the practice ground, playing the course. If not Elmwood, they're up at the Dukes. You're really unlimited opportunities to develop your own game, I would say, and plenty of hours in the day to do it.
That's great, thanks Graham. Question here, what are your favourite units to teach? I'm going to put that to Gary first.
I like the psychology module in the HND. It's a real step towards degree level study. It's quite in depth, but it also starts to reveal bits of people's character and their attitudes towards themselves and their performance. So I really enjoy that subject. And
what about you, Fraser?
Probably, I mean, I enjoy the history of golf with the certificate students. It's quite hands-on, like I mentioned, with the Kingarrick golf course and looking at old artifacts. Equipment technology, building the golf clubs with the students is always a favourite as well, using the tools in the workshop. Also the coaching modules and just, seeing, the development in the students in terms of their confidence and understanding in their own golf swing, but also how that translates into helping youngsters and other golfers, definitely. And
you, Graham?
Yeah, I would say the coaching modules across the 3 years would be my kind of biggest thing. Real contextualization into an area that's become a meaningful career for so many of our former students where they've gone on and they're now full-time coaches. So it's as is the case with all of our modules, really. There's obvious connection and contextualization to a job you could do in the industry. But coaching has been such a solid route for so many that, you know, it's great to see that development of somebody through the years and then out of the college, and they come back and we're still in touch with them in their job as a full-time coach. So that's kind of made the thing pretty rewarding over the years.
That's good. That's great. Another question here is, what preparation can I do before I start the course? Is there any advice that any of you would give?
I think in terms of the academic programme, it would be useful to look at the UKC, the PGA level 1, just look at the criteria on what you'd be required to do. It would be useful to connect with your local club and maybe volunteer some hours. And it would be useful just to start reading around the subject areas of golf coaching and getting involved. There's loads of opportunities to go online and listen to podcasts and follow blogs, and the world leaders in coaching across a variety of sports are putting their thoughts and their experience up online, and it's free to access. So getting an interest in developing it online in that sort of way would be a real thing to do.
That's great, thanks Gary. Well, that brings our questions to an end this evening. I'm just going to thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to pass to Gary now just to close the event.
So you can see on the screen our emails and our contact number. If you want any more information directly, just make contact with us, just drop us an email and then we can start a conversation. If you want to get more of a flavour of the sort of activities typically we would do in a normal year, then you could go on our Facebook, Instagram or Twitter feeds and just have a look to see some of the experiences. Obviously this year has been really, really restricted because of the situation we all find ourselves in, but you'll be able to look back at what we did over the last year and the previous years and get a flavour for what it's like to be a student and the sort of experiences that we try and build into the year each year. Thanks very much for joining in, and like I say, get in touch and we hope that you'll see some of you as students in the near future.